Have you ever noticed that some World Cup moments never fade, no matter how many years pass? They're more than football matches, they're stories of heartbreak, redemption, and unforgettable drama that changed the game forever. It all begins in 1950 at Brazil's legendary Maracanã Stadium. More than 200,000 fans arrived expecting to celebrate their country's first World Cup title. Brazil needed only a draw against Uruguay, and the party had already begun before kickoff. But football had other plans. Uruguay scored twice in the second half, stunning the hosts with a 2-1 victory. The stadium fell into complete silence, and the defeat became known as the Maracanazo, a moment many Brazilians still describe as the nation's greatest sporting heartbreak. But from that painful defeat came a determination that would reshape football forever. 20 years later, Brazil returned to the world's biggest stage with a team many still call the greatest ever assembled. Led by Pelé, the 1970 squad didn't just win matches, they made football look like art. Their quick passing, fearless attacking, and incredible teamwork left opponents helpless. In the final, they defeated Italy 4-1, finishing with one of the greatest team goals ever scored. Brazil claimed their third World Cup, and Pelé cemented his place as one of football's greatest legends. But another icon was about to create a World Cup story unlike any other. In 1986, Diego Maradona gave fans two moments that are still debated today. Against England, he first scored the controversial Hand of God goal, leaving players and supporters furious. Then, just minutes later, he produced pure magic. Picking up the ball inside his own half, Maradona dribbled past 5 defenders before calmly scoring what FIFA later named the goal of the century. In one match, football witnessed both controversy and brilliance, proving why Maradona remains one of the sport's most unforgettable figures. For years later, another chapter surprised the entire world. Cameroon arrived at the 1990 World Cup with few expecting much from them. Their opening match was against defending champions Argentina, led by Maradona himself. Against all odds, Cameroon won 1-0, producing one of the biggest upsets in tournament history. They later became the first African nation to reach the World Cup quarterfinals, while veteran Roger Milla's famous corner flag dance became an iconic celebration that inspired millions across the continent. These moments remind us that the World Cup is about far more than lifting a trophy. It's where impossible dreams come true, giants fall, and legends are created in just 90 minutes. Every tournament gives us another story to remember. The 1990 World Cup proved that football's biggest surprises could come from anywhere. But the next unforgettable chapter belonged to a nation that had waited decades for its moment, and this time, history would be written on home soil. France hosted the 1998 World Cup, carrying the hopes of an entire country. Although they had talented players, many questioned whether they could handle the pressure of playing in front of their own fans. Match after match, France grew stronger, and by the time they reached the final against defending champions Brazil, belief had spread across the nation. The hero of the night was Zinedine Zidane. Known for his elegance and calmness, Zidane scored 2 crucial headers before halftime, putting France firmly in control. A late goal sealed a 3-0 victory, and for the first time in history, France lifted the FIFA World Cup. A football victory, it became a symbol of national unity and one of the proudest moments in French sporting history. But football has a way of changing everything in an instant. 8 years later, Zidane returned to the World Cup for one final match. The 2006 final between France and Italy looked like the perfect ending to one of football's greatest careers. Zidane even opened the scoring with an unforgettable Panenka penalty, calmly chipping the ball off the crossbar and into the net. Then, late in extra time, the unimaginable happened. Following a heated exchange with Italy's Marco Materazzi, Zidane suddenly turned and headbutted him in the chest. The stadium fell silent as the referee produced a red card. Instead of lifting the trophy, Zidane walked past it for the last time before disappearing into the tunnel. Italy would go on to win the final in a penalty shootout, while fans around the world were left debating what caused one of football's most shocking exits. More than 20 years later, that single moment remains one of the most discussed incidents in World Cup history. Yet even that dramatic ending couldn't prepare football fans for what happened 8 years later. Brazil hosted the 2014 World Cup, determined to erase the painful memories of 1950. Playing in front of their own supporters once again, they dreamed of lifting the trophy at home. Instead, they experienced one of the darkest nights the sport has ever seen. Facing Germany in the semifinal, Brazil completely fell apart. Germany scored once, then again, and before fans could process what was happening, the score was already 5-0 after just 29 minutes. Supporters were seen crying in the stands. Others simply stared at the pitch in disbelief. The final score read 7-1, one of the most shocking results in football history. The defeat became known simply as the Mini-Razzo, a painful reminder of how quickly dreams can turn into nightmares on football's biggest stage. But after years of heartbreak, football was about to witness one of its most satisfying endings. For nearly 2 decades, one question followed Lionel Messi everywhere he went. He had won league titles, Champions Leagues, and countless individual awards, but critics continued asking the same question. Could he win the World Cup? In 2022, the answer finally arrived. Argentina began with a shocking defeat to Saudi Arabia, leading many people to believe Messi's dream was over before it had truly begun. Instead, Argentina responded with determination, fighting through every round until they reached the final against defending champions France. What followed is widely considered one of the greatest World Cup finals ever played. Messi scored. France fought back. Kylian Mbappé delivered a stunning hat-trick. The match swung from one side to the other before ending in a dramatic penalty shootout. When Gonzalo Montiel converted the winning penalty, millions of fans around the world erupted with joy. Messi finally lifted the one trophy that had escaped him throughout his legendary career. The image of him holding the World Cup became an instant classic, completing a story many believed football itself had been waiting to tell. From the silence of the Maracana in 1950 to Messi's unforgettable celebration in Qatar, every World Cup has added another chapter to football's greatest story. These moments remind us that the tournament isn't remembered just because of who wins. It's remembered because of the emotions, the impossible comebacks, the heartbreaking defeats, and the legends created along the way. The next World Cup will write another chapter. The only question is, which moment do you think future generations will still be talking about 50 years from now? History has never repeated itself the same way twice, and that's exactly what makes the World Cup so unforgettable. Every tournament creates a moment nobody sees coming. A new hero rises, a giant falls, and football gives us another story we'll be talking about for decades. Now it's your turn. Looking ahead to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which nation do you believe will create the tournament's biggest story?